Hey, Nightmares. About a month ago, I would have posted my video on interfacing. Who would have thought that my thoughts and my feelings have evolved in that month? Because I've spent the last month with a lot of days in the workshop with Tim Harris, the swordsmith, just editing so many swords, predominantly Malleuses, but a few Castiles and a few Darkwoods. Anything else? Oh, and just like consulting for his swords. I'm his main consultant for his swords. Trying to balance the horrific balancing game of, will it hold up to absolute clowns giga smashing with lumps of fuck, and also the sword actually feels nice enough that you don't want to smash your head into a concrete pillar. I err on the side of no concrete, no worries, because if the sword feels like shit and you need it to hold up against a gruglet, you're actively going to struggle to hold it up. You're going to actively struggle to deal with their interactions, and you're going to actively struggle to not get smashed in the body instead of the sword, which then you start stress smashing your sword into things, and that will reduce its lifespan more than the extra buildup of weld or steel ever will. Being able to put the sword in the right place extends its life and yours. Wild concept. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a journey that we had with a group order of Malleuses. Malleuses are fucking pretty. I love them. I think they're so pretty and they're so good. Their shorter blade cup hilt. Oh, a fucking ghost in the hand. That was a formative experience. So we got their longer ones, and their longer ones are a bit boaty. I don't blame them. I have also seen, to stand next to them, not against them, not to chastise them or critique them from across the table in a mean way. No, but to stand next to them and look at the same problem. I have seen HEMA. I have also seen what the fuck people do with rapier. What the fuck people do with Spanish rapier. Oh my god. We've all seen it, right? I would assume you have seen what people do if you watch my videos at all. Because hot shit. Gorillas. Now, I heard about pommels and counterbalancing your blades as a child. The pommel is to counteract the blade weight, which is to move the balance point from near the tip to near the handle. It is a weight, a counterweight even. Yes, it is. A lot of people mistake the breadth and depth of that role. A heavier pommel will make moving the tip easier. As I said in my previous video though, if there is a grain of sand in the marathoner's shoe, it doesn't matter how light the shoe then is, you're going to wear a hole into the marathon runner and they will run with a limp, and then you'll watch them have a neck issue for some reason. The things that happen by accident. The symptoms of problems. A very heavy pommel does not counter the fact that your sword hurts your fucking fingers to press into and manipulate. Just have a softer hand and don't squeeze it so hard. Relax. Yes. Also go fuck yourself. Because fencing is hard. Fencing is scary. Fencing should have your soul and your ego on the line. And you should blame your tools for when your hopes and dreams keep getting squashed and you feel like you must be bad at this hobby, at this sport, at this existence. Blame the thing that is holding you back, and you may be able to approach it. Ignore it. And then you'll blame something else, and then wonder why nothing works. So let's look at this. Malleus, it's a little unkept because it's become a loner, and it's a bit depressing. So, here we go. We have a sword. When I hold the sword out and I point it at something with some aiming, it is a straight line from my shoulder to the tip. When I go, fuck. When I go, fucking don't do that. My tip moves this far from where I was aiming. And then I need to hold my wrist in a funny way. Oh, it doesn't look cool, hey. This doesn't look sick. This doesn't look rad. You don't go like, someone holding their sword like this, like, looks like they know what they're doing. They look like they're trying to figure it the fuck out. Just a little, and they're a bit scared and a bit spooked. If you need to devote time to aim, oh shit, re-aim, there you go. There's an extra 2 tempo that everyone's going to fucking double with you on. And you're going to go, wow, maybe I just suck at fencing. I got to feel a beautiful rapier in the 1700s, cup hilt rapier, sharp. When you squeeze and go, fuck, it points where you aim. Oh, for that to be the bar. Now, why does that occur? So, the relationship... I'm going to use this pink-handled edited Malleus, because this is the first edits I did to help make it more ergonomic. Yes, I have 3 Malleus's here. This is actually my housemate's old sword. So, firstly, why does this happen when I squeeze? The ricasso is wide as fuck. Brilliant. That's brilliant. The ricasso is wide as fuck in relation to the handle. So many modern handles, for some reason, it must be I want to blame the Americans because that's fun, but it may not be an American thing. But a lot of people, they go like, yes, the more I can really fucking feel the thing, oh yeah, it feels like a sword. They feel like width and like having to get the whole hand involved equates to strength, equates to control. Far from the truth. You want it small and dainty. You want this line in relation to this line to be as close to in line with each other as impossible to achieve. Right? Because your hand sits over the top or like to the side, whatever, but there will be wrap around here. Your hand will wrap around over the top, right? Then as you squeeze against this line, it will cause this twist. Whoop, I am a fish. It will cause this twist as everything straightens out. Look at my fist now. This is it turned up to 12. This is it put in between the angles of the bones, and then boom. So this fix is really hard. Really hard to do. I haven't done this on my other swords because I don't use this grip enough. But I think I'm going to spend in the next month another whole day in the workshop just removing mass off here so that these 2 lines can be closer to each other. This is a wrapped handle, so it's not like I can just shave it down, right? Amazing. I could probably make a new handle. I have made handles. My Tybalt Rapier is a handle I made myself, and it's my favorite handle after my wire-wrapped darkwood handle that cost me way too much money. Which, well. So that's that first interaction that helps this occur. A second interaction is, every time I put my pointer online and towards the sword, I have this pommel. This may be a historical weighted, historical looking pommel. I'm not going to bully it. The bigger the pommel, the cooler it kind of looks, the more like a sword it looks. Fucking based. Fucking heaps a guy. Swords historically were not created to be... swords historically, citation needed, are jewelry. Denotes power, denotes the fact you're allowed to wear one. The fact you're allowed to have one. The fact that you should have one by providence or procurement, whatever, fuck. Some swords are so pretty. Some swords look sick. That doesn't mean they're good. Bentleys are not race cars. Bentleys are pretty and cool and have the features of all time. Luxury vehicles. Most luxury vehicles, luxury sports cars are not luxury vehicles in this idea I'm selling. The goal isn't to perform well. It's to perform its job well enough, especially when its primary role is to sit in a scabbard and make you look like a motherfucker with a sword. Ons, 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 ons. I'm going to sneeze in both these videos. Now, what I've done to these malleuses to make these pommels that look pretty but interface poorly because they dig into your wrist in a nasty way is something along... I've got like a more of a gradient because I've been working on them all a little, trying to figure it out. And the best I've gotten so far is turning it into this little urn pommel. That's tiny, hey? That's removed so much mass. And I don't notice it. I don't notice it along my wrist anymore. It does its job better as half the size, or maybe like 55 or 50% of the size, whatever. Maybe even 45, fuck. It does its job better because it's not putting my wrist in pain. It's not hurting me. It's not digging into the cuff of my glove. It's not digging into my cuff of my jacket. Thick cuffs on your jacket will exacerbate. One of those words. The problem of how big your pommel is. And it will suck. Cool. Let's go back to it. We're here. What else have I done to this? I have shaved the blade down. I've made it more flexible. I've shaved the blade down. It had a brilliant, large, swelled tip on it. We love. You could... I don't know what the fuck's on here at the moment. This is the weirdest fucking tip I've seen on one of these in a while. But it's not my sword, so I'm just borrowing it for this. I'm just going to bully them. It's a loner sword, it doesn't matter. I've taken the point down to the point that it can fit a Leon Paul foil blunt on it. Why have I done that? I've done it because every gram on the end of your sword, every half gram on the end of your sword requires force to be produced by your hand to accelerate it and keep it at a speed or at a velocity. If your blade, I'll rewind just slightly. A lever, the end of a lever increases the force required to move the thing at the end of the lever by 1% per millimeter. By 1% per millimeter. That is 10% of the force required to move 1 gram with your finger is added on top when you have a 1 centimeter lever. When you have a 10 centimeter lever, it now requires 100% of the force. It has doubled. The amount of force required has doubled. There's a 100% force increase. 10 centimeters. When you have a 100 centimeter blade to move your tip dexterously, if it weighs 2 grams and you have 4 extra grams of metal on here, you have 6 grams of mass here and a 100 centimeter lever. That's 1,000%. 1,000% of the force required to move those 6 grams is now required to move the tip. That's a lot of force. And you have to do that for rep after rep after rep after rep. Strength is not linear. You cannot get strong enough to swing the Cloud Buster sword one-handed. The amount of friction just for your feet on a Cloud Buster sword that weighs like 1/10 of the weight of the assumed weight of the Cloud Buster sword. I think it was like you need over 1,000 kilo of don't quote me, but it's something just fucking absurd. The amount of friction you need between your shoes and the ground so that you don't slide off and your feet connecting to the ground becomes a weak link to move a Cloud Buster sword one-handed with any velocity that isn't just fucking embarrassing. Yeah, like 1,000 kilo of friction. Fuck. Because it's just so heavy that like pressuring makes your feet move. As an example, this thing, having that extra metal on the end, makes it safer if you're in a place where putting tips on the swords is not done. Don't know why you do that. You can't sell me that dream. I think you're a buffoon, and we move on. Putting a small leather blunt tip on there. Boom. Small leather, small rubber, whatever. Brilliant. It's slightly soft. It interacts with the person nicer. It doesn't make a sharp impact and blunt impact causes the metal. Brilliant. You can also just take off all that extra metal, and then the sword moves nicer. You take off a heap of metal along the blade, and you actually you make it so that the blade may take a set easier. Yes, You make it so that the blade bends easier. Yes. Using foil blunts. Oh, rubber sticks to masks better. So therefore your chance of hurting them increases. Cool, make your sword more flexible, you fish. I'm not saying make an epee or a foil, but fuck me, are we too stiff on this? And then all of a sudden, the sword moves better because you don't have to impart anywhere near as much force on every single motion. Because every single motion that you have to make with the sword, you need to impart force. That is going to wear at your hands. It's going to hurt. It's going to eat your gloves. It's going to eat your skin. It's going to eat your muscles and your tendons and ligaments. You will get stronger, but it will never have a, well, I use that shit sword so I can become not a shit swordsman. No, your sword moves so poorly that you literally never learn certain beautiful interactions because you're too busy holding up this lump of fuck. So I take off some mass along the blade, like the whole way down. I did do one where I took it from only the, I just left this quarter alone and then went quarter, quarter, quarter and like to try and like gradient it more so it's more profound gradient between the strong and the weak, but it wasn't worth it. And then I just evened it the fuck out and I was like, oh, look at this moves so much better, it flexes. It's got like a 5, 6, 7 kilo flex. Oh, cool. Based. I'm not concussing people when I stab them in the head lightly. I'm not so desperate to hit someone that it's like hard to like hurt them because I can just put the fucking sword on them opposed to put the sword on them. Brilliant. That's another edit that I've made to them to make them less give me the shits profoundly. Next edit. The next edit has been done in the realms of these swords on paper and in CAD files or 3D imaging software, whatever, look fucking sick. They're fucking rad. I love it. Uns. Heaps sick. We love. Humans are organic as sunflowers in a field. Humans are as organic as the Amazon. There are some cool mathematical patterns. Yes. But overall, we are not fucking CAD files. Now, production and creating and milling and fucking filing and creating swords on a mass scale can eat my entire dick. I love that people do it and they produce and make so many swords. None of this is to bully them or talk shit about them. I work with a guy who makes one sword at a fucking time and it takes forever. Not everyone's going to have a fucking Tim Harris before both of us die. That's fine. Malleus, you're doing fucking more than God's work by producing so many swords. It's rad. Now that I've said all of that I truly fucking mean from the bottom of my heart, these things hurt your fucking hands. It hurts. To move the damn sword, there are points of just hot spots. They're called hot spots where like rubbing happens. All the ricassos to these Malleuses, besides that one stock that I've left due to time constraints, there are slight corners to this ricasso. They are rounded off. Nowhere near enough. Ow, 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 ow. You're like, yeah, cool. This is fine. I could put up with this. It's such a finite amount of pain and soreness that it's fine, which is wrong. A grain of sand in your fucking shoe as a marathon runner hurts after a while. Gives you the shits. We're doing too many actions. Unless you're like just fucking not doing enough actions to ever notice, which then this video is not for you and it's fine. You're not in trouble. But it hurts. It hurts a lot. So I've rounded out these, and depending on what I've specialized the thing into, like a Tibalt grip, I've made them into Tibalt grips due to my surroundings and my environment and the training culture, just to make sense of that. So I've rounded that the fuck out so that even if you put 2 fingers over, it's got less hot spot, less, ow, can't, that hurts. I do want to make this ricasso a little bit thinner, because then the relationship between this line and this line gets to be a little closer to parallel. Don't make them parallel, that's insane. You're just making a pistol grip at that point. Maybe that's based. I don't know right now. I should meditate upon it. But like, you don't need to go that like, wow, we're making a whole new object that's never existed before. No. The ricassos were thin on a lot of swords. The cool ones, thin ricasso. The cool ones, thick ricasso, because it looks sick from like 3, 4, 5, 6 feet away. It's jewelry. I want my jewelry to look sick. I get it. Now, these. This is fine. This is fine. The finish is beautiful. Looks fucking game file perfect. So like chuds who are like, oh yeah, it's a little unfinished or it's a little wobbly through here. I wish nothing but arthritis upon them. Sorry, that's funnier to me than I expected. This spot here, if you have the stock standard, fucking hurts your finger. It's almost like there's a fucking square there and it fucking hurts, eh? And then this corner here, on the underside here, digs into this finger. And then you're like, yeah, I can do fucking Spanish. And why does my hand hurt every training session? It can't be my beautiful sword that I spent all this money on. I must be moving wrong. Maybe I just need to relax. Maybe I just need to not squeeze it so hard. Maybe my sword shouldn't hurt me. So taking a file to it, rounding it out, making those lines long, like we've got a long flat here. Brilliant. My fingers don't run long and flat that direction, or I'm doing this. My fingers don't run long and flat this direction, or I'm doing this. Maybe that's based. No. They run long and flat this way, perfectly over 2 cunting corners that make me want to cry. So, what did I do? I took that off. I made that corner, not a corner, but a long slope. I've taken the corner out of the ring here, so that as my hand can sit through here, it's not got a big fucking corner in the way. We want obtuse angles as often as possible. Brilliant. Same on the underside, so that this finger, my ring finger, doesn't get hurt. If I do a Tibalt grip, it should be very similar, hilariously. What else have I done? Oh, I took knuckle bows off because we're rat lords and most of my surroundings care about Tibalt grip. So that's more of a personal thing. We don't need to really lose our minds over that. I did take the cup off because one of the students had a rattly cup that just wasn't tightening. That's because the way these handles are, sometimes it just does not go on perfectly. It doesn't go on perfectly because the pommels often have a right and wrong way to go, and you'll be like, yes, it's on, and you'll tighten it, and you'll be like, why is there a space? Do I need a washer? Why is it rattly? I hate this thing. But you take the pommel off, you turn it around once, and you're like, oh, hate. So like, yes, it is perfectly symmetrical and cylindrical, but there's a slight whoopsie-doops there. Swords are hard to make. I've done it. I'm gonna complain. Fucking if you haven't done it, you don't have the right. Fuck off. Now, I'm saying that on their behalf. But it is a thing that you'll experience. This pommel, we've already talked about. And then we end up with this kind of sword that my goal is now to make this ricasso thinner this way. So it's just not so much a floorboard. Maybe replacing the handle so it's just a bit more uniform this way because of the way I want it held, to not increase the distance between this finger. So this digit here from this knuckle, the more you increase that, the more the thing feels stretched out. The more you decrease it, the stronger it feels. I'm just using the wastedness to show such. The more this handle doesn't remove you from this line, fucking this handle, I'm a fish. This line from this line, as I said before, even in a Tybalt grip or an Italian grip, actually both, an Italian or a Spanish grip, sorry. The more that you can get that in line, the nicer it feels in the hand, the more the damn thing points where it is. Now, that's a lot of edit. I spoke about my Darkwood chop forever fucking getting edited Nightmare Sword last time, and I'll bring that up last, but I'm just going to bring up this Castile. I really fucking like Castile. They're cool. Their cheaper stuff is like, yeah, if I was going to shit out a sword for the bare minimum required to be able to pay my workers' bills and my own, and also get cool swords that don't make people scream into their hands, I couldn't do much better. I don't. I'm going to arrogantly say I couldn't do much better. But honestly, I don't know if I... The self-doubt inside speaks up when I say such things. This was actually sent to me as a gift for reasons. And of course, in my infinite fucking wisdom and nature, I have modified the shit out of it because I treat swords like Japanese treat drift cars. Woohoo! This not Quillen block, sick. Least amount of modification I've needed to do, and it's been fucking rad. This is the stock handle that it came with. I think it's a bit chonk up here, but like, I don't know, maybe my above average height and size is just too small. Not mad. The wasting in the ricasso, brilliant. This is their, I'm pretty sure it's their cheapest rapier blade, and I think they're fucking sick. All I've done is, similar to the Malleus's, round out the edges, just a bit more so that when my finger wraps around in either Italian or Spanish or Tybalt grip, less hot spots, less pain. I have taken the blade down and made it more flexible. Yes, I voided the warranty. I'm not going to anyone with my warranty things after I've edited them. Don't you fucking dare either. So I could put foil blunts on it. Now, these... Ooh. No, I don't think I edited this one. It was this one. They look the exact same. Yes. I'm pretty sure the blade that I just picked up was their newest batch and way of making blades. So it is slightly different. It is slightly thicker from here onwards. So I couldn't put foil blunt tips on it. And I was a bit like, oh, what the fuck? Can't. So I shaved it down until it was the same as this one. That one is a 43-inch blade. This is a 42. What else have I done? Because this bit here was, I'm assuming they've heated it and twisted it to do this, to be able to get this so that they can like CNC it and then fucking heat, weld, based. Love it. I love the way that they're making swords because you can tell as a manufacturer, oh, you're a genius. If I needed to shit that many out, I don't think I could do better. So I think it's sick. This isn't chastising it. This rotation, you take a fucking file to it and you fuck off all those edges because they're going to eat your gloves or you're going to be scared to interface with it correctly. Every single time you feel a slight pinprick of annoyance, that will take kilos of pressure off what you will do, and you will mistake that for needing a heavier pommel. If your body naturally will not impart the force correctly, because ow, you will go, oh, it must be a bit laggy because it kind of hurts to impart force. If it hurts to impart force, your body will naturally reduce the amount of signal being sent to the muscles and will recruit less muscle fibers. Until you have an adaptation of some kind, like calluses and such, or deadening of nerves, that it doesn't get the signal of pain and it sends the signal, recruits more muscle fibers. Deadening the nerves and calluses means that your sensitivity in binds starts to diminish. This is not to your benefit. So just attack the sword instead of yourself. You self-flagellating buffoon. Cool. As that got wrenched off, I also rounded out this faux quillen block. I do like that they just keep it flat sometimes. You can ask for quillen blocks to be there, and it is an added service. But it doesn't hurt to impart force on the thing with this part of the finger, anywhere along the finger against the pieces of metal, because they're soft and round and nice. Which means that the pommel got to have more weight removed from it, because it was not required. And the shape doesn't impart any hot spot or pressure on the wrist. If your pommel is too built up, you may have too much hollow under the hand this way, which means that as you're trying to aim and hit, when you go fuck, your sword tip goes to Narnia. So even this, I really do actually want to take more out of this and get this thinner, so that my sword tip goes where I fucking well ask when I thrust. Or I get to do imperfect thrusts, maybe in a super fucking Mimi Maya grip, or like a very SCA pommel is visible to all to see grip, which means that I have a V shape between my shoulder, wrist and hand, and point at all times, which means that my reach is absolutely just diminished. I mean, if you want that, go for it. Like, who the fuck am I to tell you to not do that? But I've removed at this pommel the same way that I've done the malleus to allow this shaping, which allows the point to be in line with the elbow, to be in line with the shoulder when you go, fuck you, I wish to maybe win for once. Nerds want to win. Fuck, who'd have thought? And now finally, this, love of my life, favorite sword. You can see my previous video for a lot of the edits I've done. Things I've changed since is I've actually made the quillen block even smaller, even less required to be in my way. My thumb can run down the blade so elegantly. There is a channel here for the bony protrusion so it doesn't hurt. And my handle is no longer my darkwood handle. The darkwood handle was about here. Oh, I've also copied the crosshatch pattern, or crisscross, or like checkered pattern, because I loved it and I thought it was amazing. That's a personal preference. Being able to have my friction points go within the sword, not extruding from the handle, it gives the illusion of the handle being even thinner, because things go into it, opposed to giving the illusion that it's even thicker and in some weird spots, opening my hand ever so slightly. Not to my benefit. Now when my finger wraps around, I actually get the ever so slight from my middle finger, a touch on my pad, which helps make this slightly stronger in a lot of binds from less feedback. A brilliant exercise to feel that is fingers together and say ooh ooh 4 times. I fucking hate the internet. Now, your fingers are together and you get your friend to wrench your fucking hands apart by going, ah. And because your fingers are touching, something will occur. And then try and keep them exactly an inch apart and do the same. Just experience that. Have fun with that. I'm not going to explain what happens, but you get to experience it and you get to see why your fingers touching your own hand are so fucking important for feeling strong and for not having your sword leave your hand. Brilliant. So we're here, boom, thumb runs along it. What else? The handle is thinner this way. It's also overall lighter. The critique that I've had from 2 people, Gindi Washop and of School of Historical Fencing and Woody Craig of wherever the fuck he turns up and GGSC, is that there doesn't feel like there's enough mass here in relation here. I'm not shocked. I also don't completely agree, but I do get what they're looking for out of that, so I'm not chastising it. But it has meant that I've started to think that my pommel may be too heavy still, and that needs to be shaved down to allow this to actually have a bit more mass to it and to be not so counterbalanced by all this metal here. Now every part of my sword doesn't hurt to impart force against, so my hand positions many actions deep do not feel slight compromise, that they don't feel slightly compromised, that they don't feel slightly put out of position, that harder forces don't move it out of my hand ever so slightly. Then suddenly my dexterity, when in deep water and where most people are drowning, gets to stay pretty damn close to what it is when I'm fresh first or second tempo into an exchange. Oh no, who could ever want such a thing? Ideally, this gives you an idea of edits that you can make to your sword for yourself on how you can edit them and you can evolve them. And you can chop them. Chop. Some of these edits will suck with just a file. You can get very small machines that have tiny thin slack belts on them, and you can use it like a Hitachi wand. The forbidden Hitachi is what I call it every time I'm looking for it in Tim's workshop. You can also get industrial Dremels with carbide tips. Those things are great. The Castile cup hilt that I modified a bunch lately just had a massive quilling block on it. It was just unnecessarily big. It's also old. I'm pretty sure they've grown out of unnecessarily big quilling blocks, so don't fucking email them and give them the shits. This cup hilt was already modified by its previous owner as well, and I just need to wrench off 20 plus grams of metal off that cooling block. When you use carbide tips on a lot of these, just so that you're aware, it's not like shavings or metal dust that please wear a fucking respirator for. Christ. Respirator, just a dust mask. You don't want it in your fucking lungs. The carbide tips rip off more mass per clink, and it's doing a bajillion clinks a turn, right? So it's like tiny Stanley knives getting thrown in all directions. So wear your goggles or eye protection. A full face shield is brilliant, and the mask, because breathing in one of those things will... That'll suck. Don't do that. Oh God. I hate thinking about it. But you'll also like cut your arm and stuff if you're not wearing super tight fitting clothes. Loose clothes like this jumper I'm wearing get caught in the spinning objects. I don't know, safety first. Rings, bad. Injuries. But as you modify it, just keep feeling it. Dunk it in water. You can put oil on it later. It will not rust in the minutes that you're working on it. It will just rust for the hours afterwards because you forgot to oil it. Keep feeling it, and every single spot for your grip will change. Who would have thunk? Your grip will change. The implement is changing and growing, and therefore your hand will have to impart force differently. You will spend time where it feels like you're making the sword feel worse. Blast past it. Keep making the edit you are, or make a different edit. And keep going at that until you find a general idea that you like and fits your hand with the angles. If it doesn't give you the shits, but you could perceive that you could be sore after a training session or after 1,000 interactions, then it's real, get rid of it. Just shut it. Because if your sword doesn't go where you ask it to go when you go under stress, it will be in the wrong place, and it will get broken, or you will be. Side sword with big unga bunga gloves sucks. Because no one can put their fucking sword in the right place. Because their big unga bunga gloves are saving them from issues that are genuinely being caused by the glove themselves. How you interface with your tool affects what you can do with the tool. If I asked you to use a Dremel where you could only fucking hold it by a 44-gallon drum that is welded to it, and you got to do this and like bear hug it to move this tiny Dremel, I don't think that your dexterity will be of a quality that you'll be proud of. This isn't the same, but it's also not far off. Anything else? The distance between your finger and the blade in the handle. This way will highlight if it is slightly off-center. The more off-center it is, the more you will have either this turn or this turn become the primary intuitive action. So the closer you can get to the tang, the better. For those reasons too. I can't think of any other edits that I haven't spoken about before. I put leather washers on a bunch of these because the handles can crack because you have to keep tightening them because you keep going wonk, 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 wonk. Some of these have had tangs replaced or repaired because I've fenced someone who does bad side sword with a good rapier fast, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that one's going to take off some years of the damn thing's life. Every gram of metal is important. I am fucking strong. This is a fact. I have a very light rapier. And it's not even as light as, like, what the SoCal, like, the Californian, like, West Side peeps are doing. It's like, what the like, my sword's, like, still over a kilo, and it's fucking light compared to a lot of the rapiers in Australia. And then you see those shitheads with their 800 gram rapiers, and like, I hate you. But I'm still going towards, like, this is light. Like, you use light swords and you can fucking train. You will get strong enough to use a heavier sword. Use a heavy sword as an experience. Gain experience, brilliant. But Use light swords. Blame your sword. Blame your sword for your performance. Not as a cope, but as admitting that to improve is to admit what currently is not good enough. You do not get the right to ever go, this is good enough, but it must improve. That's not real. To need to improve, to need to evolve, to need to grow, is that what is now is not enough. In a heart-wrenching way. You should treat your sword like that. Is it good enough? And then are you good enough? A good sword will intuitively tell you how to move next. If we go back to this original Malleus, unedited, it does not intuitively get me to thrust. It intuitively gets me to move my strong, and it gives me intuitively to whip crack my weak. That makes me a little depressed. But it does intuitively move around the middle, which is kind of neat. Kind of love that. I'm here for it. That's rad. I was like, when I got these blades, when I got these swords, I was like, ow! That's not what I was expecting. Kind of cool. I don't hate it. I really liked it. I fenced with a bunch. A bit short, because it's like a 40-inch blade. But I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. Fun, cool, zesty. I'm here for it. But it just hurt. It just hurt my hand. It just every time a player feels pain in their sport means that the training session in 6 months' time gets harder to turn up to. Going back to my Mosh special, this thing now intuitively pushes with the thumb into interactions and intuitively makes lateral parries and blocks and like just lateral actions kind of suck. But when I thrust through things, it's so intuitive and like that you pick up other swords and you go, oh, there is something wrong with this one because I can do it, but there's an ow to it. There's a irritation. There is a grain of sand. Good swords actually impart knowledge on the person. You get to experience the tool doing what it can do. If your sword gives you the experience and gives you the education that the sword moves like a lump of fuck and you must fight it and then the person in front of you, then your demons inside of you, then your stepdad, that's gonna suck. That's gonna be awful. You're gonna not enjoy your sport. You're gonna not enjoy your hobby. You're gonna not enjoy the interactions. You're not gonna learn. You're going to feel like you're learning to some capacity, but you're going to feel like you have to tell yourself things like, you know what, I don't take it that seriously. You know what, it doesn't really matter if I lose. You know what, I'm just here to fence. You know what, and then you feel shit later anyway, and everything you just said was to convince yourself, not anyone else. You're allowed to blame your sword. You're allowed to blame your equipment. As long as you make it better. It's not to protect your ego. Blaming your sword, blaming your equipment is not to protect your ego. It is not to protect your feelings. It is meant to give you the poor feelings of, this is an issue. This sucks. I will fix it. I will fix it. I will fix it. My next steps involve fixing it. What are they? They are this. I will fix it. If they're this, I'm going to try it. Life is too short to not try. Cool. Hopefully that was philosophically enthralling for you and you actually improve your damn sticks. I won't do another video for quite a while because another video on interfacing for quite a while because I will need to grow myself to know what else I need to change. Send this to your sword makers if you love them and care for them dearly and wish for them to work with you, paying them extra, because you will pay them extra when you do these atrocities and waste an hour of their life, and then plus whatever my other video was. You will pay them more to then make edits that are above and beyond so that you can do above and beyond actions, so that you are not hamstrung, so you are not held back. Or you get the cool sword they made and you make it yours. A file from Bunnings is not that much. If you're time poor, if you're money poor, and you've bought a sword, buy a fucking file. And you can make these edits. Talking about being money poor, in the description is my Patreon, where I post all my videos 2 weeks ahead of time, and it helps me pay my rent, and it helps me do this, and it helps me get microphones, and it helps me make the production quality of this slowly better. And it helps me continue caring about this art form so deeply because I want everyone to do magic. I want the videos of the fencing that is happening in this decade of the 2020s to be laughed at in 10 years' time as unga bunga infantile. I want to see the fencing of 10 years' time 10 years ago to be just looked at with disgust. So I want us all doing more magical, beautiful things. And everyone who puts money towards that, it is a gamble, but maybe that's helping that. Or at least it helps me pay my fucking rent. Thank you all so much.